Hello, and once again I managed to get for review an interesting model, so today I will show to you and tell my thoughts about the successor of really hyped model BLON BL03, and this one is BLON BL05, so I think everyone is aware about that model. So BLON 03 was really warmly welcomed by the community, and I didn't ride that hype train. I waited until the opinion settled a little bit. Then I've bought myself a pair of BLON 03 and I did a review, and I got really different opinion comparing with all that raving joy and proclaiming this like a giant killer and all other typical stuff. So BLON BL03 is a normal model. It's a bit bassy, a bit on the warmer side, sometimes a bit muddy, so I don't understand all that hype. At least my pair. Maybe my pair sounds different comparing with others, so I won't repeat that once again. So I will add links to the BL03 review to the description of this video, so there are a lot of comments, a lot of discussions about them. So BLON decided to develop their success and they announced model BL05. Actually, first it was supposed to be some hybrid in-ear monitors with dynamic driver and piezo tweeter, then dynamic driver and balanced armature, but at the end actually it's just same or really similar driver that was used in BL03. It's a 10mm dynamic driver with carbon nanotubes diaphragm, so I'm not sure is it the same driver, but most probably it's the same, so main tuning is done via acoustic dampening and all other stuff. Price is $43 currently at Linsole, and I will add links to the description. And if I remember right, regular BLONs are about $30 or so. So let's have a closer look and let's find out actually what did they change and does it worse the price. So in terms of package and design, it looks attractive and stylish. Actually it reminds TFZ packaging, probably done on the same plant. As you can see, there is a light gun color and white steel. This one probably is microphone and no microphone version. Here you can see the company's slogan: believe, let music burn, never give up, and OPPOTY, probably never give up your attempts to find out what is OPPOTY. So, who is Decibel? Not sure, but actually looks attractive, glittery, so nice design. Inside of the box, let me get a good grip here. Inside of the box we'll get earpieces themselves and box with accessories. Sorry if the dog outside is barking. I don't want to stop this record and go to the terrace telling her to shut up. So nice pouch, fabric one, additional set of tips, actually 5 pair of tips. I don't know why they didn't put 6. And stock cable. Actually stock cable is really average, so definitely for this price they could leverage better cable. But anyway, so let's have a look at the design, and design is really good. So they are made of metal and it's heavy. Probably it's not aluminum, maybe it's stainless steel or just well polished aluminum. I'm not good with materials, but it looks stylish. It has its own unique design, looks like nothing else, kind of retro bike engine or something like that. So a bit vintage design, but it looks attractive. It looks pretty nice in ears. They are small. Actually, let me do this compression. As you can see, they are even a bit smaller than BL03. So they are small, fitting nicely even into small ears, but actually spouts are just average in length, so sound isolation is also average, and actually angle here is a bit bigger than it should be for comfortable wearing. So you have either to wearing them this way, so they will stick out of your ears a bit more, or you'll need to find the proper tips for the insertion of the spouts with a bit inappropriate angle. Anyway, there is a grill to protect internals from dust and derbies, and the lip for holding the tips. Vent hole, so no driver flex issues here, at least for my pairing. And overall really good build quality. So as you can see, for the $43 everything is done really nicely. Stock cable is really below average, unfortunately. So if you're going to get them, really recommend you to get some additional cable. It will cost you like $10 or so, as I've seen in some shops on the AliExpress and other shops. There is also already sold bundles with some third-party cables. So it's just regular 2-pin cable, so it's right ear and right connector, left ear and left connector. So cable itself is normal, but nowadays there are much better options. So there is ear hooks for holding the wires. There is no memory wire and it's a bit tighter than it should be, but it's acceptable. Cable itself is thin, really really easy tangling, a bit getting hard when it's cold outside. There is a microphone is just average, so you can accept the call on the noisy street, but you need to move microphone closer to your mouth. In itself it looks just regular cable, so nothing fancy. I think for this price range they could add something better, but anyway, it was okay for BL03, it will be okay for the BL05. Just invest $10 more, not because it requires something acoustically, but only because it, you know, earpieces themselves looks really attractive and looks really stylish. So I really like this design. It's one of the best design things released recently, and adding such a average cable just spoils the impression. So just get some other cable, or if you're not so sensitive for that, you can use this one. It's really okay in doing its job. In terms of design, build quality and presentation and other stuff, earphones looks really good. And of course about the sound, I gave them about 60 hours of burn-in, not sure was it required. I did few tests during the burn-in process, and I think the sound didn't change much, but it was brief listening, so maybe changes were more noticeable. Anyway, I gave them burn-in, so all requirements are met. So as a player, for example, I will use Fuse M11 Pro, but of course for critical listening I used Ultima. Anyway, in terms of sound, also it's really important to find a proper fit, because fit here plays a crucial role. Actually, with 05 I got a bit better fit comparing with 03, but anyway, it's really important. So spend some time trying different tips and making some experiments. It's really necessary. Probably their fit can be improved using spin fits, so I think they will play nicely with this improper angle, so they will fix that a little bit. But anyway, with gray tips, bigger ones, I found a proper fit and seal for me. In terms of sound, actually, it's like retuned version of 03, so nothing totally new in terms of sound, and it's from my point of view, I'm a bit sad about that, because I really wanted something totally new. But anyway, to my taste, BL05 is a step in the proper direction comparing with 03. So for me it's a good news, but if you like the sound signature of 03rd, probably it will be a bit bad news for you, because here they reduced bass a little bit and accented treble a little bit. So in terms of tuning, 05 is closer to typical V-shaped signature, while this one was on the warmer and weightier and more analog side of things. This one is closer to more traditional tuning, but let's probably describe it step by step. So low frequencies are accented, but accent is like average, not the biggest one, not just the slight one, so it's like normal accent that vast majority of in-ear monitor makers do right now. So it provides additional weight, but at the same time bass became less bloated and it became a bit faster and a bit more textured. So it's still not the fastest bass and it's not the balanced armature-like bass, but anyway it's like normal dynamic driver. So with a good amount of impact, with good amount of kicks and so on. Also there is a pretty nice depth. Maybe it's not the deepest in-ear monitors in terms of bass, but definitely like on the deeper side. At the same time they making less accent on the bass and deeper layers of bass than 03, and for me that means more natural sound. And so they are better for the natural instruments, for acoustic instruments, for acoustic music, for rock, almost for all genres, besides those that relies heavily on the synthesized accented bass. For me it's kind of universal option. And as an example, I've got my regular test for the low bass. It's Juno Reactor Tempest. I think you heard this track. So at the beginning, in the introduction, there are a lot of effects with really low rumbling, low frequencies swiping from left to right and vice versa. They go really deep, and these in-ear monitors really balance really well with them, so they're really good in representing such effects. You won't get the eye-shaking amount of low frequencies, but for me it's the proper amount, but it's just subjective thing here. And I really like the improvement definition and texturing. Mids are like traditional dynamic driver mids. They became more present than in BL03, but anyway they are still sounding recessed comparing with low frequencies and with treble. They have normal detalization, so don't expect some superb focus on the micro contrast or other stuff like that. It's if you need something like that, probably you need to consider some hybrid in-ear monitors. Here they are more focused on the weight, on sounding more natural. They are a bit more polite for the poor records, but still resolution is normal, like, you know, not superb but normal. And you will get proper amount of details, you will get in-ear monitors that are forgiving for something not superbly recorded. Not super forgiving, but anyway. In terms of staging, it's a bit above average in width and about average in depth, but for me it's a step forward comparing with 03rd. But staging is a subjective thing and it depends on the psychoacoustics, so for you it can be different. You know, for me it's pretty obvious, warmer in-ear monitors gives more intimate sound and smaller stage for me. So this model is less warm and it gives me a bit better staging and three-dimensional positioning. But clarity on the mids overall improved, you know, it's pretty obvious step. You reduce the low frequencies and you will get more defined mids, so it's audio is often just about the balance. You add more bass, you lose mids. You add more treble, you also lose in mids, and so on. So a bit decrease low frequencies, get better mids. And that's why, actually, as an example for the mids, I've got a pretty complex track. Not some masterpiece of the audiophilic recording, but anyway, really good track. It's Louis Armstrong and Duke Ellington, Azalea, and it's great combination of trumpet, vocal, and other accompanying musicians. Actually, I really recommend you to get 2 CD version, because the second CD contains different rehearsal outtakes, and they're sounding sometimes even more interesting than main part. But anyway, you know, vocal and trumpet here of course require a good resolution and a good definition, and of course to fully enjoy it's not proper way of saying that, because to enjoy this track you just need something, any earphones, you know, it's the wrong way of thinking, like to enjoy this music I need some $1,000 in ear monitors. No, to enjoy the music you need to enjoy the music. But to get the full potential of this track, you will need something noticeably more expensive, some hybrids like Juno DK 2001, for example, or somewhere at that range. But anyway, of course, music is more important than getting expensive gear, and BLON BL05 deal okay with this track. Not super, but you know, it's a good level that allows you to enjoy it on the really at the really high level. And there are of course some issues with naturalness, but it's not that important, and I really like them with this track and with this whole album anyway. And treble here is also a bit more present comparing with 03, so if you're sensitive to treble, probably you need to test this in ear monitors before buying, or just consider this purchase because they have more treble. For me it's also a good thing, because treble here balancing the low frequencies and giving overall more natural signature. So they just added just a bit of treble, but because they have less bass, you know, treble is more noticeable and more prominent. Resolution is like average, so it's just a dynamic driver, so resolution isn't bad, but of course it's far from being like stellar or superb. Extension is normal, about average, so it's a good thing for modern tracks, because usually on the higher treble they have a lot of different issues with record, with compression and so on. Anyway, treble sounding normally and pretty natural, but of course don't expect like rich layering, overtone saturation and other stuff. And if you use too polite recessed treble version of 03, relatively polite, of course they are not most treble light in ear monitors, but less treble here than here, so keep it in mind. For me a bit more treble is a good thing, but not everyone thinks so. And as an example, I've got the band that I really like, and probably it's the most tragic for me, how to name it, disbandment or band, how it's called when members of band just shut it down. So band life termination. Okay, I forgot this word, maybe I will look at the vocabulary, sorry, actually you got my idea. So I like the Mars Volta really much, and actually like it much more than Omar Rodriguez Lopez solo works, and Bedlam in Goliath and Vox Simulacra is good album. Actually all their albums are great, and Vox Simulacra is a great example of the overwhelming and a bit hysterical and usual approach of this group to the progressive metal. And there are a lot of treble, but this track is saturated with everything, a lot of guitars, a lot of cymbals, percussion, and it requires normal treble, and this in ear monitors provide a proper amount. Of course, better resolution would be a great plus, but we are speaking about less than $50 in ear monitors and they sounding nicely. So, to summarize everything, it's a good dynamic driver V-shaped in ear monitors. You know, if I wanted to get more hype or to get more attention, probably I'd label this review like Giant Killer's new Chi-Fi King or something like that. But I'm not trying to get this cheap hype and I don't like the idea of getting it, so I just sharing my opinion. It's a good in ear monitors, but you know, it's not like everyone's cup of tea or like everyone killer or something like that. Speaking about pairing, actually I don't remember their specifications, but they're probably something average in terms of sensitivity and impedance, so they will play nicely even with smartphones, but of course some good DAP like up to mid-level, up to probably few M11 would be a good pairing for them. Actually M11 is good thanks to its natural and a bit brighter signature. It's actually pushing their mids even a bit more forward and I like this pairing. Probably in more affordable segment, Heidi's AP80 will do the same, but I don't have one for testing right now. And speaking about the comparisons, actually I already highlighted the difference between 03 and 05. So 03 is warmer, bassier, a bit muddier, while this one is a bit more clean with a bit more present and prominent treble, bit faster, bit less bass. So actually, you know, it's more natural and more organic sound. So all that things that usually saying about better sound applies here. But once again, I must highlight, if you like 03, it's quite probable that 05 won't be kind of definitive upgrade for you, because tuning changed a little bit. It's not like the same but better, it's a bit different tuning, so keep that in mind. In that segment there are a lot of other models, but like, you know, not much sense in comparing like with TRN V90, because TRN V90 is drier, faster, more aggressive and so on. Or like KZ ZSX, for example, it's just more detailed and focused on the micro detailization on mids and treble, but a bit thinner with a bit less weight, and of course that in-ear monitors are hybrid, so drivers overlap is more noticeable there. So while this one is more coherent, more organic and more solidly sounding, so it's a matter of preferences. You need more micro detailization or more weight or something like that. So probably I forgot many popular models, of course, just feel free to ask about the comparisons, but actually it's dynamic drivers with V-shaped signature, you know, it's pretty good describing their nature. And it was BLON BL05, so I'm pretty sure they will get more attention and more hype in near future, but I think, like, you know, they offers good good value for that price, but of course for like $60 or higher, in the higher segment, you can definitely get better sound, and it's just the fact. So for $100 and higher, even better. But of course in this price segment it's a really good performer, and also I really like the design. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.